public hearing order. Continue public information meeting for William Street Realty Trust, P.O. Box 687 Leominster, Mass. For site plan on William Street for new construction of an office building.
My name is Anthony Cleveland. I'm with Whitman & Bingham Associates, representing the applicant of William Street Realty Trust. And if you recall, last meeting we went through this plan in detail, and basically what came out of the meeting was that the board did not have the authority to grant approval at that time because there were a few variances that would have needed to be obtained. Variances being having 3 curb cuts proposed, where the ordinance only allows for 2. Having a curb cut width of 171 feet exceeds the minimum curb cut width. Then also having vehicles backing onto a public right-of-way. So the board asked to continue the meeting to this date, so we had time to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals to ask for those variances. We have been to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and they did grant those variances that we asked for. Another variance that was also asked for that wasn't discussed was for a 5.5-foot encroachment of a building overhang into the front yard setback. And that was also approved as part of the ZBA decision. The appeal period, I believe, is not expired yet. I believe that will expire next week. That's where we are.
Do we have that decision?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's okay.
Is this the same one?
Right here.
Yeah, William
That's
Street.
this one, that's
Yeah.
William Street, okay. Okay. Yes, I read that. Okay, we're all set. Do we have any other questions on this? Simon?
Nope.
And we've addressed the handicap spaces because it included the maneuvering lane.
I can explain that if you'd like.
Yes.
We have a comment coming from the building department as far as what's the dimensions on the handicap spaces. Typically, we would lay out our handicap spaces is to conform to both the Leominster zoning and the Americans with Disabilities Act requirements. And in their requirements, they require a parking space minimum 8 feet wide, plus at least a 5-foot maneuvering aisle to be included as part of that space. So what we typically do is we have a delineated handicap space, 9 feet wide, which is a typical space for Leominster, and maneuvering aisle, the width of a space being 9 feet as well, and another handicap space on the side of it. So each space would share that, so if we cut that space in half, it's 4.5 feet. Each space ends up being 13.5 feet wide. Each space would be able to utilize. And the Leominster zoning calls for 12 foot wide handicap space. So it exceeds Leominster, but also meets the ADA requirements as well.
So Leominster calls for 12 with a 3-foot. They don't call for the 3.
1219.
So what
It's
you're
just 12
getting with
feet wide.
3 9s is a 12 and a 12 and a 3.
Right, there's extra space in there.
Good, okay, that works. How about the one-way traffic around the building? Has that been accomplished?
Yeah, that's what we anticipated anyways with one-way traffic. It wasn't intended for cars to be driving around there. It was mostly for just access to the back of fire vehicles.
Okay, and parking space at the fire department hose connection?
Yeah, again, that could be a condition. Basically asked that no parking space be placed in front of where the hookup would be for a fire truck. So that could be a condition of the approval.
Okay. Mr. Ashton from the fire department noted that there is no parking space at the fire department hose connection. Does that mean he wants one, or that?
I think what he's saying is
Does
no
not-
space to be put there
Does not-
so that there wouldn't be anything in the way.
That makes more sense.
Okay, yeah.
And then you need a flow test
Yeah, standard
for water
comment.
pressure,
Yeah.
and has that been done?
No, at this time we have not.
And sewer manhole must be poured and booted. Have you seen that requirement
No, I haven't seen that.
from Public Works? It's here. Thank you.
Yeah, That's a typical request, to make sure that the connection is watertight, so there isn't any infiltration.
I think in this location that this plan works. I would not like to see this done on a road that had more traffic than this. Move to close the hearing.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to close the hearing. Do I have any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Continue public information meeting for Scotty Development, 340 Main Street, Worcester, Mass. For site plan and master plan modification to Orchard Hill Park. That's my, that's all I had for that page.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Greg Scotty, with the Scotty Development Corporation, and I'm here tonight for the amended site plan to my Orchard Hill Park project and amended master plan as well, which you all should have received copies of. Hugh, if you wouldn't mind passing out, I'm sorry, I want to introduce the folks. Hugh Harmon, Senior Project Manager from VHP, John Scribner from my company, Project Manager, and Bill Scully from MS Transportation is here tonight also for questions. He was just passing out a mini copy of the master plan we should receive, but we brought extra copies here tonight. And if I could, I'm just going to circulate, I think the board has already gotten this, but it's a architectural renderings of the two buildings we're talking about modifying tonight. So what I'll probably do is take it, the site plan first and then the master plan, if that's okay, or vice versa, whatever the board feels.
Sure. Like it.
There's two sets here. Do I have to do the master plan first?
You have to do the master plan first.
Okay.
I think there's only two, so if you pass that down, we'll share.
I'll share this. Pass that down.
Master plan.
Let me just start off with the existing master plan that currently exists. Currently, we have on the approved, we'll call it the phase one approved side, it consists of the 22.24 acres of retail. This was of course the original plan, so this would be Target, and this was reconfigured to be Kohl's, Dick's Sporting Goods, Bed Bath & Beyond, Chili's, and then originally we had a 3,670 square foot fast food restaurant with drive-through lanes and a 5,000 square foot casual diner. That would be somebody typical to Chili's. This area here basically remains exactly the same, and then across the street we had showed an additional 95,000 feet here of other uses allowed in the industrial district, as well as a two-story office building plan for this parcel here. So this area here is about 77.5 acres. Since this was approved, I believe the board is well aware, I purchased from Harrison Taylor Company the area designated as these 4 structures. So what I'm looking for this evening is to add this additional, it's technically 43 acres of land, though 3.86 acres is currently zoned rural residential, which is not included at all in the calculation. well, we left it outside, so the total land area now is 115 acres. And this is all designated as, again, uses allowed in the industrial zone. What's changed on this master plan is basically these two buildings on either side of Chili's, two restaurants that I spoke about earlier, have been replaced with twin 8,440 square foot, we call them small store retail spaces, you can see by the architectural plan. It's basically small buildings that you can divide up into 2 to 3, 4 multiple tenants as needed. So that's what's proposed in place of the two restaurants. Also across the street has been changed. The two restaurants that were on this side have been moved across the street. And then an additional retail building that's shown here is a single story. I had two different scenarios on that. One was a 2-story building, which was approximately 53,000 feet. This one here is a single story of about 45,000 feet. I chose to show this one because it's basically, this would be maximum build out. So when I would be back to the board at some point in the future, we'd actually, obviously define what that building's going to look like, provided with the architecturals, so the parking and landscaping and such. And these buildings here that are shown on the former Harrison Taylor land that's now owned by Pioneer Park LLC are basically the same buildings that were on the subdivision plan that you had approved many years ago from Harrison Taylor and then revived. So if you take it on a percentage basis now, overall, the restaurant area is at 4.9%. The retail has gone from 28.5% originally down to 25, just over 25%, it's 25.1%, with a balance of 70% being left. So that's basically how the new amended master plan looks. Should I stop here for some questions?
Yep.
or-
Okay.
Mr. Scotty, can you just, so right now, there's the buildings that are currently under construction, just so that I have
Okay,
a
let me
visual.
orient you,
It's
sure. This is Kohl's, Dick's Sporting Goods, Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, which we just opened an hour ago, and that's Chili's.
Okay. The one in gray.
One in
which
gray
shows-
is Chili's, exactly. And this area, again, this was the area here that was designated as restaurant.
All right,
on the
I didn't
prior
drive
plan.
far down enough then, because I was trying to figure out
This is, if
when
you've been up
Target
there
was gonna be open, when it
recently,
didn't look open, but that was the Kohl's, okay.
yeah, it's all the way, you enter Target through here.
Okay,
This
true.
drive aisle here. There's a
Okay.
big monument sign, the Target logo,
Right.
that's their entrance.
Okay,
And I should back up for a second and just tell the board that the off-site mitigation that this board required me to do for phase 1 has been completed 100%. The traffic lights out front are operable. The board had added a condition when I came in for the Kohl's modification that this area here have the binder coat down. We took that a step further. We put the base, the binder, sidewalks, berms are all installed, signage is up. They did some line painting today. So that's done. The other thing's done. All the intersections, Harvard at White, Harvard at Stagecoach and Prospect are all been completed. The high visibility pedestrian crosswalk is up, and the speed monitoring devices have been donated to the city. So I think that was pretty much the list of items that had to be done prior to the Target opening, prior to their occupancy permit. That was done well in advance. So I believe the only outstanding item that was on that list would be the traffic monitoring that the board required me to do in December of this year to see how the traffic patterns are working. As I said, Target opened an hour ago. These stores here are slated to open. The Kohl's, the Dick's, Bed Bath, and Chili's will be opening first week of October. Chili's may be opening in September. That's so it would be nice to kind of phase it in and get people used to the traffic pattern.
Okay, at this point, do we have any questions on the modification to the master plan itself.
Why don't you just point out to the board again, the industrial land uses, that will be allowed in the industrial district, uses as allowed.
Right, well, what we did is, I had VHP, when they designed, well, they designed this portion of it, Whitman and Bingham did the layout on these buildings here. We took the wetland delineation that was approved by the city, and we designed these buildings so that they actually can be built. This little area here is, this line right here that is currently, we paved it as of a couple weeks ago with all the utilities, sewer, water, electric, gas, all stubbed and ready to go for future development in the rear. This lot here would most likely be accessed from Pioneer Drive Extension up this way.
At this point, Greg, I'm just going to open on the master plan only. I'll open it up and then we'll go back.
Sure.
I'll open it up to the audience at this time. Does anybody have any questions or comments concerning the master plan, and the master plan only? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, my name is James Lanzini Jr. I'm a city councilor at large for the city of Leominster. I support the modification plans that are being presented to you here this evening, and I hope this board will look so.
Okay. Do I have anyone else? Yes, sir.
Bernie McCaffrey, 100 Ridgewood Drive. Just for the information of the board, I, along with several other abutters to this project, are parties to a civil litigation that's ongoing. I want to bring the board up to speed that as of several hours ago, all the parties involved believe that they've reached an agreement, a settlement agreement on this matter. However, final papers have not been executed at this point. I'd like to ask the board to continue their decision to the next regularly scheduled meeting and leave the public comment period over so we may have a chance to address the board at a later point in time. As for right now, given the state of what's going on, the group of abutters to this project are going to maintain a neutral position for this evening's hearing. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that'd be a decision of the board, whether they want to leave that open or not.
I could just,
Do I have any other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
My name is Alan Bernstein, live at 68 Scenic Drive in Leominster. I, as well as Bernie, are plaintiffs in the lawsuit that is currently pending. I ask the board to be respectful of the situation and to maintain an opportunity for citizens to have an input into this. If you give a continuance to the public hearing, that gives us an opportunity to have our voices heard. Thank you.
Okay. On the issue of the master plan. Okay. Go ahead, Greg, on the site plan.
I'll show this plan first. This is basically just an overlay of the shopping center and where the changes took place. Nothing changed in this area at all. Nothing changed with any of the drive aisles. The Chili's parking all remain the same. If you can see here in brown, that was the existing restaurant, fast food drive-up restaurant with the drive-through lanes here. It's been replaced with this brown building, this different shade of brown building here, 8,440 feet, with the parking field now in the front and on the side. It's basically just took these two buildings and flipped them. This building here, you'll see it in this kind of orange color. That was the existing 5,000 foot approved restaurant. You can see underneath it this brown color, which is twin building of that. Same deal with the parking in the front, the parking on the side. So we actually increased the parking on this shopping center by a little bit because of the amount of spaces required under restaurant versus retail are much more stringent. Each building would need about 32 spaces, and the restaurants will require a lot more. This is just a cleaned up version of again, that building. These drive aisles going in stayed exactly the same. This drive aisle stayed exactly the same location, so it's just basically a reconfiguration of the building. Your site plans that were submitted show all the revised landscaping all the way around the entire building. And we're able to pretty much use all the existing lighting. I think we had to move one light pole over here. We were able to use all the existing utilities for the most part that were already installed under the old plan. So this is basically the revised site plan.
So you're going from two proposed
Two proposed
restaurants to two
restaurants, two
proposed
small
retail.
store retail, exactly.
And all your grades has this been submitted to the fire department and the other departments for
Everything should-
review?
Yeah, I believe everybody's got it, and I believe there were favorable recommendations from all of the departments.
So this is the limit of the site plan we're reviewing tonight under
That's it.
phase one,
Correct.
master plan.
Right.
Did you
Okay.
have enough parking when they were proposed restaurants?
We actually exceeded this, I believe, by well above, I believe it was about 150 extra spaces already.
And I'm sorry if I missed it now, have you reduced the parking?
No,
or is the
we
parking the
actually
same?
increased it. We currently have 1,472 spaces. We were under that, under the old plan, so we went up a few spaces.
And you reduced the size of, the first building is now proposed as 8,400 square feet.
8,440 square feet.
It looks like it was the same size as the, oh,
No, it was originally
Okay, I see it now.
33,670.
Okay.
But that was a fast food restaurant, had a couple of drive-through lanes.
okay.
So we eliminated that. This building here was originally a 5,000-foot casual diner restaurant. Replaced it by we increased it 3,440 square feet to a small store retail.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah.
so I have the department review.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
The
Continue.
health department, the applicant appears to have met the required performance standards for the project. Restaurants have external grease traps as requested during the development review process. The building department approves. Conservation Commission approves. Fire says that any and all buildings shall be in compliance with applicable fire codes, including fire alarms and sprinklers, and that's to put on the conditions. And those are the comments that we've received. It has water and sewer. That was comment from the DPW.
Before we go on, I made a major faux pas. As before we started this meeting, I should have introduced everybody to Kate Griffin Brooks as our new planning
That's all
director.
right, John. Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Kate. And I want to apologize to her that I get started and sometimes I'm not thinking correctly.
All right.
But we're looking forward to many more years that Kate. I knew Kate in the past, and I'm looking forward to working with her. She brings a lot of insight to Leominster and a lot of experience around the state, and I can say around the world. A lot of things that she's done. So welcome, Kate.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Okay, now you can go on.
That was it.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions?
I want to open it up to the audience. Do I have any questions for anyone in the audience on the site plan? So we're looking at only this modification here of this section
I'll be
only?
back for every other building. I have to come back to this board for a site plan.
Right, so you'll come back. So that's what, I just want to make it clear that we're just looking at this building here.
So we're looking at two issues on one meeting, but the request is to hold open only the revised master plan, not to hold open the phase one modification, is that correct?
You can't, well, we'll have to make a decision on that, Ahmed.
Well, I guess it's, are you Butters, you're requesting a continuance on both?
Well, yeah, obviously, we would follow the same request
Okay.
on both. Right.
Thank you.
And just for the record, Mr. Chairman, if I could, because there are settlement discussions, I can't get into, obviously, any of the specifics that were discussed.
Greg, can you do me a favor, just speak up a little bit?
Sure.
I got this blower right behind my ear here, and
Well,
it's,
I said because of the settlement discussions that took place, I can't get into any of the specifics. But as the board remembers, this was before you back in, at the May meeting. And while it is my hope that this can get resolved without going to court, that's not a certainty. We have a revised court date for next Friday, and it is my wish, and I spoke with council about this, to go forward tonight and hopefully request a vote tonight from this board on the revised plans. I'll leave that at that.
okay. Do I have anyone else from the audience have any questions as far concerning the site plan? The only question I have is, we have VHB and Mr. Abend, and just a quick, do these numbers, and I have the letter, so just for the general population, Mr. Abend, does this impact the current traffic studies that were done? And does this fall within the original criteria?
I'm gonna ask Mr. Scully and Mr. Hill.
Either one of them.
Well, I'll speak for Bill Scully, MS Transportation Systems. We prepared a memo that looked at the changes that these two projects resulted compared to the first one. And based on that analysis, during the peak hours, we're seeing very small changes in traffic, a little bit more traffic with the retail operation. Obviously not in the morning, but afternoon. On a weekday, around 13 additional trips total, so very small. A little bit more than that on a Saturday. It increases over the course of the day, 24 hours. Usually it's going to be spread out, hour to hour. So again, very little change. It's not going to change the operations at the intersection at Harvard Street, which is Park Drive. Not going to change any of our phase one mitigation program that, as Mr. Scotty said, is in place.
Okay.
Submitted that.
So, just as long as it's been looked at, we know that it really hasn't had not that much impact. It's really insignificant. I just wanted people to know that.
Maybe we should.
Do you have anything else? Any questions, Carol?
Okay, well, can we ask, Mr. Abend, you write in your correspondence, this is of May 3rd.
That was when we were originally going to have the hearing, and then we continued it until tonight.
Okay, so it would have, okay, thank you.
Right. This hasn't changed from May.
You suggest that we have, which we would probably do it just the same, about periodic reviews.
Yeah, we have that scheduled.
We do
Carol.
have that scheduled?
We do have scheduled as part of the conditions.
How often are they? Just remind me.
6 months.
It was December of 2005 during the shopping season, and then the board was going to pick another date at whatever you see fit to do the second traffic analysis.
If I can remember correctly, we had held off on the second date because we wanted to make sure everything was, at least that they was open and built out, that there weren't some kind of delay.
Correct.
So that's why we held off on that date.
Why would you, why is it that there would be increase, although it's insignificant, why do you suppose, both of you, that it would be an increase in traffic? I would think there would be an increase if they remained as restaurants. Is it an increase in certain periods of time? Because I would think restaurants are gonna stay open later, so that there'd still be more traffic after 9 o'clock at night when the stores close. So is it just at certain, what you would consider peak hours?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, was peak hours.
Okay.
So we look at peak and midday. And, with the restaurants, I mean, again, yes, they generate traffic, people come in, they sit down. They're not turning over like the retail would be. And you're right, I mean, the retail starts to close 9:30, whatever the time is. Obviously, no traffic there, the restaurant can stay open a couple of other hours, but on balance, that's what the numbers work out to be.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question on the Phase 2 master plan. Is there a breakdown of the acreages, areas?
Yes, it would be on
somewhere on one of these sheets?
Yeah, if you look on the right, top right-hand corner, there's a legend. And the development schedule underneath that.
It's on the sheet that was handed out this evening, or it's on the M1.
If you look at the,
Okay, thank you.
it's on the mini as well, right, yeah. Maybe a little small there.
And how did you determine these areas? By what method?
They were measured by computer. The survey of the property was entered into a computer, and then those areas were measured by computer. Standard surveying practices.
High-powered mathematics for these shapes?
Yes.
Without getting into the issue about the 3.86, without going into
That was not
that
included.
proposed, is that,
I showed it on the
I probably
master
should
plan.
wait, but my question is, yeah, you show it on the plan, I guess, would that be added? Is that going to, is your proposal for that to be added to the industrial, for an industrial building? That's my question. I guess I'm gonna come right down to it. Is the 3.86, could it potentially be added to the 28.90? Because then you're over the 30%. That's what my concern is.
No, that's the
actually-
change is to industrial, Carol.
That's my
No,
question.
even if you were to add that, Carol, you'd still be well under the 33%.
Oh, because I'm looking at acres and it's
not the
percentage.
You're
Okay,
well under that.
okay,
But the plan
okay.
is, later on tonight is, oh, we can get into that, but for the purposes of this plan, I show it on here, but I don't include it in the 115 acres that I control, and I just show it on the bottom as rural residential, 3.86 acres, and it's kind of out in limbo land.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, don't get acres and,
That's what I was looking into the wrong column.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay. Do I have any other questions of the board? Of the audience, one more time. Okay, on the,
I would like to continue this for 1 month, because I too would like to see the results of the settlement before I vote on this. And also, the opening of the Target store is going to give us a chance to look at some real traffic and compare it to the projected traffic that we've seen.
Can I ask a question to the
Sure.
authorities? can I just ask your concerns, if we close the hearing, is your concern that you have a potential settlement not executed, not yet approved by the court, and is your concern if that falls apart, then we have an approval, you think an approval by the planning board will kind of then silent you from any additional concerns that come up? Is that really the reason behind it? I would think it would be, but.
That's not the only reason, but that would be one of the reasons, yes.
But they would have the same remedies they have been before. They go there.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with Armand right now, but I just want to know your reason, keeping in mind that I think if that happened, I think that any decision that we make, I think if we approve this tonight, I think any approval we would make would become void, I think.
As I understand it, okay, number one, I'm opposed to continuing it. We have had ample opportunity to listen to all of the different discussions that came up at many hearings. Nothing has changed. We heard it all. We've had hearing after hearing. We had many people listen to the hearing. It's been in the newspapers, okay? There is nothing new. If something comes up, then the courts would come back and they would remand it back to us with a recommendation. But at this time, that's all it is. I have no input. I have nothing. I have a maybe, a whim, an idea that there's something out there. The neighbors haven't come to us. They haven't included us in this. We have got no input except for somebody saying, we're talking to a judge, okay? And to me, that's just not enough. So therefore, I'm opposed to continue. I want to move forward. We are going to go there. We have a number of other cases. On the other buildings that come up, it's going to be back to the site plan again. And we have to, everything else, all we're doing is a minor modification here. And that's why I asked, is there a big change in the traffic? No. Is there a big change in the other stuff? No. So now all we're doing is coming in for site plan, minor site plan. It's not going to affect the traffic. Well, the target's open now. The plans are that we have, it's going to open. It's really not going to make that much difference. You're going to have, then you got Lowe's, and you got the Kohl's opening up, and you got the others open up, and then we look at the mitigation later on. And we have openings to mitigate it at a point. We haven't finalized this at all. We have said to Mr. Lascotti, we're going to review this. We're going to look at it in December. We're going to look at it again on a date to be picked by us. And, oh, by the way, you're still open to mitigation. So I don't see any reason at this point to continue to, I've gotten little or nothing from anybody in the audience. There's no other concerns. So therefore, I don't have any reason other than somebody requesting us to continue because there is some kind of litigation that we're not party to.
Well,
So-
on May 3rd, you were in court either on or right before May 3rd. You came in with Mr. Erb.
Right, we were in
And
court.
when was the next time then? When was the next hearing date?
We
Did you
had
have
a
another
hearing that
one?
was scheduled last Thursday that all parties involved agreed for continuance until next Friday.
And what was, without getting into it procedurally, what was the point of that? The 10-day extension?
The point was
A one-week
the
extension?
defendants, plaintiffs requested mediation.
Okay,
So we agreed to sit down and listen.
okay. And then at some point you had that and had some discussion?
Correct.
And then, so now you're gonna, you believe you're gonna go back this Friday, or a week from Friday?
If the mediation is not settled, we're scheduled to be back in court next Friday, a week from this current Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it my understanding any mediation would have to come back to this board anyway? The majority.
Not necessarily, I mean, I can't get into specifics, there may be some stuff that may require some municipal.
No other municipal departments?
Right, it may
Okay.
not be the planning board, it may be another department.
I mean, I'm inclined to, I think if that's Armin's motion to continue the hearing, I'm inclined to continue it only because, by the same token, what you're saying, John, what the status was on May 3rd, in my opinion, is still the status today. even though it seems a lot closer. I mean, I like, that's my reasoning. To me, it's the same, it's the same, things are basically the same. Instead of having their hearing before today's date, it's now scheduled after. So I think I'm inclined to agree with Armand, and I would second his motion to continue it.
Okay. We have a motion on the table, and it is seconded, to continue this hearing to our next meeting.
Both phases?
Is that correct?
Both phases. Yes. I was talking about the phase 2 master plan. So you want to do it both?
Well, see, as I look at it,
You want to do it, is it all one, is this all one issue, or is this 2 issues?
what I was gonna do is, when we get into voting, I was gonna split them into master plan. See, you have to approve the master plan first before you can approve the site plan, because you can't approve the site plan modification without the master plan being approved.
For the because of the numbers?
Because of the
Okay.
use.
All right.
Because of the numbers.
Okay.
Correct.
Keep them together then.
So you have to do the both, well, you have to divide up. When we vote, we have to divide up the master plan and the site plan.
All right.
And so we have to vote the master plan first. And once that's approved, then we can vote the site plan changes. Okay?
Very good.
So, but the hearing encompassed both. But when our vote is taken, the vote will require 2 separate votes. Okay, in that sequence. A motion to continue then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
No. Hearing is closed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, 6.45. City Council Petition 95-05. Mark Brito, President of Brito Oil, and 10 registered voters. Amend Chapter 22, Section 22-26 of the, oh, wait a minute, I can't do, yeah, okay. Revised ordinance is entitled Table of Uses by inserting storage and distribution of home heating fuels under industrial uses. Do I have anyone here to speak in favor of this motion?
My name is Mark Brito. I'm the president of Brito Oil. And quite simply, I've been looking for a place to move to in the city. Zoning issues, there is no place for me at this time. So that's why this petition has been brought forward. There is no place in Leominster for me to have my type of business.
Okay, and this, do we have,
Well, that was just left out of the table. In other words,
it's just
how
not,
how did you exist before this?
Good question.
People really needing oil.
When I went to the building department, I was told that under the table of uses, there was no home for me, so to speak.
Yeah, okay.
So he said I needed to bring forward this petition to allow it. And so my petition was to put it in industrial zone.
Is that where you're located there now?
Currently it's in commercial,
Okay.
I'm on Route 12.
so you're in commercial now,
I'm in the commercial zone,
and you want to move to an industrial site and to be allowed that,
correct.
okay?
So how many places will we put out of business if we allow it in industrial? Any idea? Do you have any idea?
Many places.
How many other oil storage?
Well, there were
Oh, they'll continue.
Two others.
They'll be grandfathered out.
Okay, but any new ones would be required to go into industrial?
That is correct.
Okay. All right.
So,
Would you not be allowed industrial right now?
Correct.
no,
I thought I
Would
fit
you be
under-
allowed, where would you be, you wouldn't be, so if you
You're not allowed
move,
any place in
you
the
can't
city.
move, is what you're saying.
exactly.
Under the table of
That's
uses, it says transportation and trade depots, which I thought I fit under. But because we're also considered retail, although retail, we don't sell, people don't come to me. Maybe we're cutting hairs, I'm not sure, but that's why this petition is there, because of, I'm still considered a retail business. The city's eyes,
But you deliver.
but we deliver.
You love it. Yeah, this was one I looked at and I really don't have a problem with it. And I was sort of surprised we didn't have something in the category for, in the industrial area. Do we want to make a recommendation that requires, does it a special permits?
Well, maybe they should go in the same category as the automotive service stations for the dispensing of fuel.
No, that's allowed in residential B.
But, yeah, by special permit.
I think they brought, see, this is, I think this is different.
No,
I'd
it's not
add a new
residential.
category.
No, it's
It's
business,
business B rather, business
not in
B.
industrial. Okay, yeah. It's a
See,
different
so-
category.
Yeah, so I would take in
Okay.
a different category and I would recommend a special permit from the Board of Appeals.
Okay, let's continue. Anybody else have input?
Yeah. Okay, do I have any other questions or comments? Yes?
My name is Jim Lanciani, City Councilor at Large, and I support this petition. I will be supporting it on the 25th when it comes before the City Council, and would ask that your board also support it. Thank you.
Okay.
That's for oil storage. Yes.
Okay, yes, Kay.
So you would recommend a special permit from the Board of Appeals?
I'm saying Board of
Even-
Appeals.
Even in industrial, it wouldn't be just a by right use
No,
in industrial?
because there could be a situation where you could be next to somebody else in an industrial, there could be some concerns. So I really don't want to make that by right. I'd like, let it go to the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
I mean, that's just my feeling, you know, we can make that recommendation, it's up to the city council,
Yeah.
Right.
whether they want to accept that or not, because all it is a recommendation. Now, the other board members can, you know, that's, you know, when we get into making our motion later on, you know,
Okay, this is the hearing.
we can, this is the,
Move to close the
this is
hearing.
the hearing phase. Motion made, do I have a second to close the hearing? Motion made and second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So, opposed say no. Motion carries. 7 o'clock. City Council Petition 96-05, Joseph D. Sprout, Trustee, Orangewood Crawford Trust. Amend Leominster zoning map to restore industrial zoning district to the entire property identified on the Assessors Map 227, Lot 5A, located at 111 Crawford Street. Land is currently zoned partially industrial and partially residence B. This was an error in the mapping when we originally did the zoning, so the line just got shifted, and primarily the problem is that the, I'm talking on, do I have a representative to speak?
I'm Steve Mullaney of Mullaney Engineering, and I'm joined by Bill Spound of Orangewood Development Company. Orangewood owns property on both sides of Crawford Street. They've owned the property, it's just beyond Beacon Street, at the bend in the road after you come off of Hamilton Street. They've owned the property since 1964. Previously, there was a Charlton Furniture factory on the property. There have been several different industrial tenants over the years, and at different times, some A&R plans have been brought before the planning board to divide the property into various lots. There's one portion of the property, this 1 acre portion that remains undeveloped, and this is the property that Orangewood is looking to develop at this point. And about 6 months ago, when we started doing our research, the first thing we discovered was that this is the zoning line, or the approximate zoning line, cutting through the property with residence B in this area, and surrounding it on all three sides is industrial. The position of this zone line approximately splits the property to about half an acre industrial, half an acre residence B, which really makes it difficult to put an industrial use on the property. So the petition that you have before you seeks to take this half-acre section of the property and bring it into the industrial district like the remainder of the property. We are sensitive that the property does abut a residential neighborhood. There are homes on Beacon Street and Fairmount Street that have been there, in some cases probably 100 years. However, we know there are safeguards in the zoning ordinance, particularly under site plan review and under the dimensional regulations that require when a building is put on an industrial property and it abuts a residential zone line, that the building has to be 50 feet from that zone line. So that creates a buffer in there. And there are also development standards in the zoning that call for screening of industrial uses when they abut residential properties. And any use on this property certainly would be before your board for site plan review. The use that's presently being considered if the zoning change is passed by the city council is the placement of a 10,000 square foot building on the property which would house small contractor condominiums. The idea is that there are a lot of small business owners in town, plumbers, electricians that may be operating out of their houses, their garages and sheds that are just bursting at the seams and need a small place where they can just set up shop, have their headquarters and some room for their plumbing supplies, electrical supplies and so forth. So it's a relatively low traffic type industrial use being envisioned for the property, not something that would be producing excessive noise, light glare or odors. And under site plan review, we would present to the board all of those provisions, the shielded lighting, positioning, the landscaping and so forth. So we feel that if this petition has your favor and favor of the city council, it will allow this industrial development to move forward. We are aware that some of the other city departments have commented on this. The building inspector expressed opposition to the rezoning. The Board of Assessors, on the other hand, expressed favor towards the rezoning, seeing it as appropriate for this location being in an industrial area already. The Board of Health expressed concerns about light and noise impacts, which we would address under site plan review, and the Conservation Commission expressed no concerns.
Okay, thank you.
What was the building department's concern?
It was the proximity to the residential uses. The City Council opened its hearing 3 weeks ago and has continued the hearing to a meeting in August after waiting for your input.
So, what was his name? Do you remember his name?
Is residential B property, is that land, you couldn't even access that, could you?
The residential B? No, the zone line runs right down Crawford Street, so to get into the residential B property, you have to go through industrial areas. There's the existing auto parts right across the street from the residential neighborhood over here. A little hard to see in this aerial photo, but you can see all the cars stockpiled. This building is the Airport Business Center where there are small incubator businesses. The railroad, the MBTA railroad runs right behind the property, and there's an existing spur railroad track that cuts through the rear of this property through an easement to serve the existing building to the north. We appeared before development review back in February when we first were concerned about the zoning line issue to hear the concerns. No concerns were expressed at that point about the rezoning, so it was a little surprising to us to hear them more recently.
Yeah. How close is that property line to the actual buildings?
To the buildings on the lots?
Yes. The building on the
houses,
home.
the existing homes?
Yes.
The nearest homes are approximately 25 feet right in this area here to the lot line. So maintaining an additional 50 feet for the zoning, if an industrial building were to be put here with 75 feet of separation.
And that's residential B, right?
That's right.
If that line was moved back a little bit, say another 25 feet or so. Yeah, it's from the yellow line back, you know,
Move
that,
back.
in there someplace, would that, say, giving the people another 25 feet plus the setbacks, would that affect your expansion of what you're trying to do?
It might
With the other-
reduce, it would reduce the size of the building.
I think you want to keep the zone on the property lines and then go for the bigger buffer zone, go for a good buffer zone.
Yeah, well, see, that's on the property line now. We could request a larger buffer zone. But then you have a buffer
Splitting the
by,
property.
what's that?
Right now, the zone is splitting the property.
Right.
How close is the building down to the property line?
That house right there,
The old building, yeah.
25 feet.
25 feet.
Oh, okay.
It's all,
25 plus 50, so
So it'd be 75 feet.
75
I meant the existing building is on the property.
there is no existing building on this property.
There's nothing, it's parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's vacant land. Years ago, there were wood pallets stored there when the furniture company was operating. This portion of the property abutting the residential area has very mature trees, so that the vegetated buffer, if you will, wouldn't have to take time to grow, it would already be there in this area.
very good.
Okay. Do I have any other comments, questions from the audience? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote to close the hearing.
So moved.
Okay, close second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. 7:15, City Council petition. 101-05, John Dombrowski, adopt an ordinance requiring the payment of development impact linkage fees for commercial and residential development within the city. We received, today, I've been trying to do some research on this. What did I do in my paper? Open minute page, is this it?
That came in today.
No, that's the other one.
Late this afternoon. Later this afternoon.
Ah, here it is. We received a, I don't know, it says 4 pages? 4 pages
Kind of linkage piece?
on concern and linkage fees. This one right here. I looked at a couple of things on here. It seems like there seems to be some concerns. I've had some concerns with this all along.
I think one of the things that Boston did to, along with the special legislation, was to form a separate nonprofit organization, housing organization. And that's one of the reasons that Boston is able to carry out their linkage program.
Right. My understanding, in just reading this, I get it as I walked into the meeting tonight, is that there are a number of issues with linkage fees. Linkage fees, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is a tax. And a city is not allowed to create new taxes. Okay? So in that regard, where like what Kate just mentioned is that Boston would take and they created a nonprofit organization or
Right, they took in
or an
fees.
authority within, and those linkage fees do not go into the general treasury, but go into this authority, who in turn builds housing, okay, for people. So it's tied to housing. In my opinion, it becomes a tax, because in theory it says, good, we're gonna do this and it's gonna go to a fund for a new police station. But you can't designate it for a police station, it has to go into the general fund. Because any payments for a police station have to come out of the general fund to pay off the bonds. So therefore, it becomes a tax. And without any tax by a city or town, as I understand it, would have to be approved by the state legislature. So there's an enactment that would have to go to the state legislature before Leominster could impose any kind of a fee. So on the surface it says, oh gee, we're gonna do this, but I think we're just scratching the surface. We really haven't investigated it thoroughly, and it leaves a lot of questions to be asked.
Right, Judith Cutler, Attorney Cutler of Copeland and Page really presented the board with an excellent opinion with lots of information here, and the most important of which, in my mind, is the Franklin case.
Right.
Which is
Would you like to read that for us,
directly
please?
relevant.
It's not that
Do
long,
you
so.
want me to just read the last paragraph?
Yeah, the
of my
last
opinion?
paragraph on the Franklin case.
In the Franklin case, the appeals court ruled as an impermissible tax, the town of Franklin school impact fee charged in connection with all new residential construction. That's essentially the gist of it, and Attorney Cutler's opinion, quote, "In my opinion, the proposed development impact fee ordinance would likely suffer a similar fate if challenged." And that challenge, Franklin lost because the appeals court ruled that that it failed. The appeals court determined that the required payment failed the first prong of what was called the Emerson College test, because some payers, such as those without school-age children, would receive no benefit for the charge, while some non-payers, such as buyers of existing homes who have school-age children, would get the benefits of the charge without paying. So Attorney Cutler says that the proposed development impact fee ordinance would likely suffer a similar fate if challenged, because the proposed charges would, in my opinion, be vulnerable to challenge as an illegal tax. The city may wish to consider seeking special legislation to authorize the imposition of such charges prior to adopting this or any similar development impact fee ordinance.
As long as it meets the Emerson test.
So there's the Emerson test, and there are, and I knew it's,
I think in order to meet that Emerson test, Attorney Cutler is suggesting that special legislation is required.
And that special legislation would probably require the city to set up a special authority to
Right.
handle those fees.
In my opinion alone, I think that it might be worth, the city council should continue to investigate this option if they're interested in tying the fees to housing or parks. There's there's an interesting discussion of linkage fees in parks on the American Planning Association's website, where they review 6 cities, big cities, that have fees that are supposed to develop parks, and the question was, were the parks really getting built? So you have to, they have to be very transparent organizations, and they have to be clear goals, objectives, and actions tied to the money that's brought in. But I think with all the information that we have on Boston's linkage program, and it's very successful, and some of the other information on the 6 cities that have tried to do parks, that maybe it would be worth looking into for the city of Leominster for the benefit of everyone that lives in the city.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Yeah, I think that there are some options there, but the way it's being proposed today, it has to go much further to develop a specific requirement, a organization, authority, something has to be set up to handle those monies. As you just mentioned, that went into the general fund, wasn't really used for the parks. The process was, it was supposed to be, but it sort of got lost, and it didn't happen. So, and that's what I read into that paperwork that you had given me. So, That's what I got out of it. I don't need, does anybody else have any
I
comments?
think we should open this up to the public. Public comments.
Definitely.
Mr. Chairman, Jim Lanciani, Leominster City Council at large. As this petition is before the City Council, I really have a hard time trying to digest it and to accept it as it is. At a couple of the meetings that we have had with the legal affairs and so forth, I have asked for a copy of some community that has it and exactly what their ordinance is. And Council Dombrowski is in the process of trying to get those for us so that we could see what others have done. I too believe that it's not viable for the city to be doing this and going into the general fund, and technically it's against the law, so we can't. My one other question would be, I understand and I realize that this opinion from Attorney Cutler is to the planning board. I would ask that when you make a recommendation, or if you make a recommendation this evening, that a copy of that letter be sent to the chairman of legal affairs with the notation that it should probably be passed out to all the councilors so that we can see exactly what Ms. Cutler is speaking about and what she is referencing. And I just hope that we make a right decision.
That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Lanciani. That is no question that we have the full intention to share this information. Not only this, that Kate had also put a package together on linkage fees that she has from different planning departments and different towns, so that will also be included in the package of general information to the City Council.
And I appreciate that, and I like her reference to the fact that on the website there are some, maybe that could be put into the letter with her recommendation that they view the website, those that have a computer.
Okay. That's fine. Does anyone else have any comments? What from the board?
I agree with the comment that this is very vague. I mean, the details involved in this could go on forever. This takes a tremendous amount of study. You know, I mean, this is, in concept, sure. We could just make a recommendation to the council. I mean, this could go everywhere from referendum questions to, it could take months just to educate the general public about what it really is.
Right. Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. What I saw here, a fair amount of work has been done, but I think there's a lot of legal things that have to be checked out, and I think probably the first step before the city can enact, it has to go to the legislature to get approval for them to enact linkage fees. So I think they're putting the cart before the horse. And in order to do that, you have to have the total program established. So maybe they've got 1/3 done, and we got a couple of, 2 more thirds to go as far as setting up an organization in the city and getting the legislation done, and then getting the linkage fee done. Okay? That's my opinion. Do I have any questions or comments? Any others?
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the hearing. All in favor say aye.
I
Both say no. Motion carries. 7:30, we're almost catching up. City Council petition 107-05, William L. Donato, rezone 236 Lancaster Street to 270 Lancaster Street, shown on Assessors Map 177 as Lot 10, 10A, 15A, and 13 from Business A to Commercial. Do I have a representative?
My name is Bill Donardo. I've run the industrial supply business in Leominster for 33 years. This is my third location, which I bought in 1979. And the reason I'm here is that I went to the went to see Mr. Cataldo and asked him how much further I could further my business into different lines, because the plastic industry in this town is not as what it was at one point, and I need some other lines to further my business and continue open operation. And he told me that I could not do it, and that I would have to change my property from business A to commercial. Then I found that all the property across the street from me was changed about a year ago, including some homes that were residential, and they were turned into commercial. So that's why I'm here this evening. The building that I'm in was built in 1880. It was a plastic factory, or a barrette factory back then. It was later bought by the Plastic Rand Company. They had the first molding machine in from Germany that was used at that facility. I bought the property in 1979, renovated it, and moved into it. And I want to continue to operate in Leominster. However, with the business the way it is in the community, I need to further my lines, and I need to expand my business. And that's why I'm here.
Okay, have you got the zone, or you have balance? I got mine right, so.
Which buildings are specifically yours, Mr. Donato? Can you tell me, can you tell me what are the, can you like describe them to me, 236 to 270 Lancaster Street?
It's the corner of Johnson and Lancaster Street, right down the street from St. Anne's Church.
Industrial hardware.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I do own all the pieces of property there. I just need,
I'll find it on here.
so it's all business A right now. All time, it's all right here.
Where are we?
Yeah. You're right here.
On the original plan, there were two other buildings that were up that the Foster Grant Company removed before I purchased it. This one and that one. They're no longer there. Right, and these other pieces here, I purchased. This came with the original property. This was owned by the Trantis family. They were selling flowers and growing flowers there at one point.
You're gonna do it, Carol.
And the house on the corner was an inn that was in the 1600s, as I understand it. And it burnt down, and I just bought the land in 1995.
This is my eyeballs, I can't read it. It's too small on that map. Oh, that one's got a bigger map, yeah.
This was all the land that was changed last year to commercial. Right, Wheeler Street.
Where is it? Here? This Lancaster Street coming this way?
Right. It's right here.
Real cemetery. Business A both sides.
Oh, I found
Johnson should be here.
Mrs. Johnson.
Yeah, that's Johnson.
This big class is what? What is it?
It goes over the hill.
These are all pieces. I think it's better described on the map that, can I see that?
Sure.
Better described on this one. This is Johnson Street. This is Lancaster Street, 117. And I own 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of property. And these two buildings were removed by the Boston Grant Company back in 1976 or 77. I bought the property in 1979, renovated it. Now,
Is this building here?
no, it's gone.
That's gone. What's this? Oh, there was just a paper street in here?
That's a sewer line.
Oh, that's the easement for the sewer
That's
line.
easy for the
Do
sewer.
you have the latest zoning map? I don't know if this is the latest.
I got one, but mine is so small, I can't.
I see, I
I
found Johnson.
forgot my magnifying
So it's
glass.
right here.
I looked for one, I couldn't find
This
one
is
anywhere.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Where is it on
So is
this
he,
map?
if he's right on the corner, this is commercial. This is all commercial.
Right.
Do you have, he's gonna extend the commercial zone?
Yeah,
That
just
was my
extend.
question, he was just, it's not like he's, it's
No,
not like he's carving a piece in the middle, he's right at the end.
he's right at the end.
Mr. Mr. Donato,
I'm sorry.
I think we have a large zoning map here, this is.
If you get a large one, that would make it a
Why
lot
don't you,
easier.
no,
Look at this piece of industrial. Wait, this carved out right in residential.
Well, see, that's what happened, these little, that's where there's some building there, so we
Twelve
put
business
these, when they
days.
did that, they put those
What can
in
you
there.
do in business
hold
days,
this
you
up
can't
and
do
point out your property, so that everyone can see it rather than just.
commercial, what you can't do in business days.
I know, but really, what should happen is everyone should be able to see it. Here you go, can you show us where the property is on this one? And so that people that are here
Something from
can
the
see.
historical society.
Where we're talking about.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay?
I needed a magnifying glass, folks, I'm sorry.
Okay, where are this is my address.
So I'm sorry, Paul.
The pieces that I own,
Carol, take a good look at it.
Wheeler Street, all the way to Johnson Street here. All right
So
here.
this is the piece
All this
here.
land across the street is all commercial now.
Right, and there's your land?
My land is right
Right,
there.
residential.
So this is a shaped like Oklahoma, and you have the panhandle of Oklahoma. That's abuts commercial.
Right here.
Right, and so it's like,
So he's right here.
Yeah.
and I've been running a business.
What can you do with commercial? You can't do
Right,
with
it's
business
only
days.
industrial business, commercial.
Yeah, and just recently, all of this across the street here is all been converted to commercial. Last year.
That's right.
And mine wasn't.
To me, as long as I know it's
When
connected
went
to
out, we will see if they were interested.
I just look at, you know, just.
That's quite a bit.
More commercial manufacturing products for retail,
Mm-hmm.
research and development.
I could, yeah, I want to bring the hardwood. That one, put it out.
So commercial gives you more opportunity,
Well,
manufacturing and selling and so forth,
Yeah, I want to
retail.
get into some outdoor type of materials. Yeah, keep the thing, I don't want to grow the business.
Things you- that
More like possibly, and
better opportunities in commercial.
Plastics, you know,
Yeah.
plastic industries.
that's what you've always done, is you key on like bolts and hospitals.
Yeah, you've primarily supplied the plastics industry with the
You want
parts.
to be,
Yeah.
you want
Nuts and
to,
bolts and,
Yeah.
you want to be able to continue to supply by expanding your line, you know, like outdoor building
I'm
products.
still
Okay.
doing products and stuff like that.
Possibly,
Yeah, some outdoor products and stuff. Different lines, it's something generates a new business.
that was a very.
Two restaurants.
yeah.
Feed grain stores.
Well, I also, you know, I want to paint that, I want to paint the whole yard, I want to get it. I'll give it
There's
all
quite a
the
bit.
trailers and paint the place
Music
up.
for dance schools.
Yeah. Commercial pretty much opens it up.
Auto displays, interior sales, custom shops, wholesale, yeah.
Even adult entertainment.
And then, special permits for a lot of stuff.
If the audience has any something to say, let's go to it.
Yeah.
No. Everybody across the street, it doesn't change much.
Okay,
It ain't- everybody-
I don't think so.
Great.
I'll open this up to the audience. Do I have anyone else that?
Private clubs.
Chairman, Jim Leominster City Council alive. I concur with what Mr. Donato has explained to the body, that this has been a business, and his industrial business has been there for a number of years. And when I supported changing the properties that belong to Mr. Camerini across the street to commercial, I had in my mind that someday the property across the street would be coming into the request to be rezoned. And I think that what Mr. Donato is looking to do would be beneficial to the neighborhood. It's not going to take away from the neighborhood. It might even take and improve the neighborhood in some degree with what he intends to do there. And I would support his request, and I intend to do so Monday on the 25th at the council meeting also.
So this
Thank
would
you.
attach to an abutting commercial district across the street.
That is correct.
That's correct.
Down here, right across.
Do I have anyone else who wishes to speak on this matter? Do we have enough information? Any questions of the board? Okay.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 7:45, City Council petition.
Industrial. I'm not sure how this happened. I don't know if it was an error when the zoning was, the new zoning book was done in 2001, or if it was always the case. But in any event, this needs to be rezoned to incorporate the other industrial land I have. As the board knows, it will basically be worthless land because you cannot access a residential area such as this through an industrial property. So it's basically 3 acres of no man's land. I just want to point out to the board, if they're concerned with a buffer, the Sky Meadow subdivision that this board approved had some open space to it. That was deeded to the Leominster Land Trust, I believe, this year. And then as part of the subdivision off of Prospect Street, Peter Bavenzi subdivision, the Harvard Estates Conservation Land Trust owns all this land, which wraps around it. So it's a pretty large natural buffer. I did also, it's probably easier to look, I made copies of the zoning, I'm sorry, the assessor's map, because it actually does a better job out of anything here. I highlighted the area, and it shows the land that's owned by Leominster Land Trust next door is 8.45 acres. And then it's got the assessor's parcel with it. Copy here as well. And the other property that abuts this is, again, the Harvard Estates property, and that's around the assessor's card for that as well.
Thanks. Oh. Thanks.
And basically,
Call me so.
To the right-hand side of the green triangle,
Here?
what zone is that?
this is the rural residential zone, goes
Rural,
right around the green
Okay.
and out. But this is
See, that
open
line,
space
that
and open
jog
space.
doesn't match the zone.
That's
Like
correct.
that may have been an error in there.
That's what we believe is that there was an error when they drew the line. They were supposed to go by property line and see the PL on that, and I believe they made an error back then.
Yeah, okay. Very good.
The real reason for this is also, we have a local company here who would like to expand, and if anybody's been up here, topography up here is almost as bad or worse than I had to deal with across the hill for the Orchard Hill Park project. And in order to fit this building there, it's a local manufacturer, 100,000 square foot plastic manufacturer. In order to fit them in here without exporting 300,000, almost 300,000 yards of material off-site, which would make the project impossible, we're able to reconfigure the building using this land, and we've got it down to, I think, less than about 75,000 yards, which makes the project more palatable. So we're trying to get this company to locate, or I should say, expand in Leominster rather than relocate out of town. So that's pretty much all I have to say on this. If there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
By the way, the closest, oh no.
Thank you.
And Mr. Lascotti, when you purchased the property from Harrison Taylor, or whichever entity that represented Harrison Taylor, you purchased that triangular piece
That was
along
part
with
of
it?
it, that's correct. I was not aware at the time when I bought it that it was raw. I didn't really pay attention to the plan, but subsequent to that, we did find out it is zone rural resident. I did send, I don't know, does the board have copies of the actual petition, the plan that accompanied the petition to council, this plan here?
Yeah.
You have that?
That one?
I submitted sets.
No, that's Orchard Hill
It's a
Park.
site plan.
No, it wouldn't be in that.
Why don't I've got some extra copies here, why don't I pass them around?
This was this accompanied the zoning petition, it's just the official. So we have
Hold on. Okay. Do you have anything else?
No, if you have any questions, it's already.
We'll open it up to the audience. Do I have anyone from the audience that has any questions? Yes, Mr. Lanciani.
Mr. Chairman, again, I'm here as a city councilor at large for the city, and I have reviewed the documents that we have received from Mr. Lascotti with relative to this piece of property. I too believe and come up with the same conclusion that it was an error when it was originally done, and I think that it needs to be corrected, and I would support this correction, as I would call it, to his request, and I would hope that this board would do likewise. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'll ask one more time, do I have anyone else that wishes to speak on this matter? Do I have a motion?
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion made and second to close the hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, call to order.
John Souza,
Here?
Robert Torioso.
Here.
Anna Millet.
Here.
David Giovanni.
Here.
Michael Cooley.
Here.
Tom Kerrigan. Sal Chaconi.
Okay, minutes of previous meetings.
Move to accept the minutes.
I have a motion to accept the minutes. Do I have any additions or deletions? I also have a second.
Second.
I have a second.
Okay.
Okay, you beat you to it. Okay, any additions or deletions? Questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both say no. Motion carries. Plan submitted, A&R plan. Joyce Palmetier, 67 River Street. Presented by Andrasic Land Surveyors.
Good evening, Doug Andrasic Land Surveying.
Yes.
I did one. I'll save this
We can share. We got enough. There you go. Okay. Yes.
We have some property just about at the intersection of Hamilton Street and River Street, southerly of Hamilton Street, northerly of River Street. The two lots that you see before you was at one time one property. In 1959, there was a plan drawn by Alden Marble dividing this into two lots, as you see here. However, that plan was never placed on record. We're not able to find it at this time, not placed on public record. That plan was done in July of 1959. I've included a couple of copies of deeds with that. The smaller parcel shown there is Assessors Map 231, Parcel 9, was actually first conveyed out in August of 1959 with the configuration such as what you see there. The remaining piece had remained in, had been passed through several generations of the same family for a number of times. At this point, what they'd like to do is be able to convey that out
to a non-family member. However, what had happened, although we have a nice deed from 1959 of the smaller parcel, no legal work was ever done and no deed redrafted to place that exception in the original deed, which still to this date includes both parcels. So what we'd like to do is sort of turn back the clock if we can, show the lots as we have. The Leominster Assessor's Map also has shown these as 2 separate lots. As you can see, they're shown as lots 9 and 2 on the Assessor's Map.
And the two houses have been there for a long time.
Yes, the 2 houses were there before 1959.
Yep, they're old homes.
And it meets the required frontage, is it 80 feet?
It does have the required frontage and lot width.
And it's residential B.
Residential B, yes.
I move to endorse.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to endorse. Any discussion? Here or not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Give you a minute to collect everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good job, oh, great.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. 3.2, special permit, wireless communications, DT Enterprises LLC, industrial communications off Lancaster Street at the intersection of 190. So require a public hearing. What do I have?
August 23rd, 7:15.
What are we having on August so far?
We have Ridgetop Village at 6:30, 6:45 is the petition for the industrial land, and 7 PM is Garrity Furniture.
What about, and we're gonna have Lascotti. We're gonna have the Orchard Hill. Oh, no, that was,
No.
see how I think, Armin, then
I think that we
should have won that vote?
I think
Okay,
that we should put this on our agenda.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take that long. and
Okay.
Shouldn't take that long.
This is a communication facility
okay.
board,
Special permit, only need
For
advertising.
7:15?
especially when.
You have to advertise
all those
it.
dead
You need-
zones on the cell phone.
7:15?
What'd you say, 7:15?
So moved.
Thank you.
We have a motion made and seconded. Second, Tom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Site plan, Garrity Furniture, 124 Central Street, is scheduled for August 23rd at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Need a motion to approve that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 3.4, site plan, Prospectus Architecture, 188 Central Street, CVS.
And that'll require a public informational meeting,
Public information.
7:30, August 23rd.
So moved.
A motion made, do I have a second on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Site plan, Lascotti Development Corporation, Orchard Hill Park. What is this one for?
Phase 2 site plan.
Is that this phase
For,
2?
it's actually for my own office building.
That's for the office building.
That's correct.
7:45, can we do this?
Yeah, that's a small building on the right-hand side.
Move for a public informational meeting for 7:45 on August 23rd.
Second that.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Preliminary subdivision plan, Boucher Construction of Leominster, Lancaster Street line off of Johnny Appleseed Lane.
Do we dare?
That, I know, I was just gonna say that, but 95% of that, plan is in Lancaster. There's a sliver of one lot in Leominster and just the entrance to the project. I'll just give you that information if that helps you decide.
as long as we don't have, and I'm saying this, as long as we don't have the Lancaster population here at 8 o'clock on August 23rd. Does this go to Lancaster? Do we?
Wow, man, we're loading up on August 23rd.
That's the problem with summer session.
Okay. Well, we'll just go a little, you know, some of these are small, so,
All right, 7:50.
Hopefully 3.2 and 3.6 won't be too controversial.
Okay.
But we also.
why don't we take,
I mean, we went to 7:45 today and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was gonna be horrible. We did all those public hearings in an hour.
yeah,
We also have 3 city council petitions on this agenda. One of them has already been scheduled. We have one that you might want to schedule close to the one that you presented.
Well,
Okay.
September meeting's only 2 weeks
And then we
later.
have
It's not holding some
That's
hearing
one.
in September.
another zoning issue for city
why don't we
council.
move this one into into September?
Oh, December?
Because like I said, we've got the city council petitions that we have to look at, right? Have those been scheduled?
It's just so simple. I hate to-
Have they been scheduled?
One out of the 2 have.
I just want to find out if they want to do something.
I don't think it will
This
take
may
long.
be it.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't remember. I should remember.
How many of these require supermajority?
None of
May
them.
not get an August.
None of them. No, except for the wireless communications.
Wireless communication requires supermajority.
So, if it does, it's not gonna open anyway.
That's right.
That would be the one that I would move.
Good, thank you.
So we got the other city council things to start things off, right?
What, can you go?
What starts at 6:30?
Yeah, with the risk of making this decision longer than the hearing's actually going to be, what's
We
going,
got Rich Top at 6:30. Okay.
The industrial petition at 6:45.
which industrial petition is that?
John's, Chairman Souza.
Oh,
Chairman
it's-
Souza's 1.5 and less acres of
1.5
industrial
acres,
land be rezoned, be allowed to have business A uses, is that correct?
Right.
Okay,
And then we have a site plan for Garrity Furniture.
that's 7,
And then
then
we just did
7:15.
the wireless, and then CVS at 7:30, and the Scotty 7:45.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I move to schedule it for August 23rd at 8 o'clock.
Okay. Motion made and seconded for August 23rd, 8 o'clock. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Old business. William Street Realty Trust, P.O. Box 687, Leominster, Mass. Site plan on William Street for new construction of an office building. That was presented to us this evening with all the changes that were requested. Any further comments, questions? Conditions?
Yeah, were there any conditions?
The department reviewed any of the recommendations, such as the fire chiefs, the fire sprinklers there, will be added as conditions onto the plan.
Right.
There was something from,
I know, we gotta find it.
the Board of, the DPW request a sewer manhole must be cored and booted at the new service connection.
Right, and that will go on the conditions.
So I would move to approve the site plan with the conditions as noted from each department head, specifically the DPW and the fire department and any other department that has a specific condition.
And our standard list of conditions,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
I have a motion made and seconded to approve with conditions. Do I have a second?
I second.
have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. The Scotty Development, 340 Main Street, Worcester, Mass. A site plan and master plan modification, Orchard Hill Park. This has to be divided into two motions. So the first motion would be for the master plan modification of Orchard Hill Park. Okay, do I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Motion for Mike, do I have a second? And I have a second. Do I have any further discussion on this, or any discussion?
I would vote to approve it as submitted, but I just want it noted that I would have preferred a continuance because I think, well, I have a question, and I know the abutters left, so, and I didn't think of it until after the fact, so I'm gonna rely on Mr. Lascotti. When you were before us on May 3rd, and we continued it, was that continued on, by agreement of all the parties involved in the litigation, or was that a court order?
It was not a court order, there was an agreement that, when we spoke that day, that the parties, amongst the parties, that we would continue until tonight, but that was not part of the court order, no.
And we never received, I think I would have thought we would have received something. You didn't receive anything from the,
It probably went to the city solicitor, I would imagine.
you didn't receive anything?
But there was-
No. But that, I mean, I would approve the master plan that's been submitted, but my request would have been to, I just want that noted in the minutes, that I would have liked to have have it been continued until we had either an order from the court or a judgment or a signed agreement from the parties.
That's correct. Your memory is good. The reason for tonight's meeting was that we were going to have results of this yesterday, and which we did not receive. So I too will vote in favor of the master plan revised.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to accept the master plan as revised. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. The second one is with Scotty Development, 340 Main Street, Worcester, Mass, for the site plan. And that's the modification of the two buildings. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I think the site plan modifications were minor, I would vote to endorse it.
I have a motion made and a second. Any further discussion?
I would just like it noted again on the minutes that I will vote to approve it, but I want it noted that I would have preferred a continuance until we had a final, some final agreement or judgment from the court on the matter pending.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. New business, City Council petition 9505. Mark Brito, President Brito Oil and 10 registered voters, amend Chapter 22, Section 22-26 of the revised ordinance entitled Tables of Uses by inserting storage and distribution of home heating fuels under industrial uses. The only thing here is I would, just because it's fuel oils and there's some, I think there should be some restriction on it, rather than just a straight yes by right. This is just my own feeling, that I'd like to recommend that the city council amend it to that it would be approval by the Board of Appeals. No, a special permit Board of Appeals.
The only concern I have with that is he's grandfathered right now, and the guy can't even move, and I'd hate to have him to go through another step, but.
But I'm not talking just about him, I'm trying to look to the future.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
That's true.
You know, it could happen this year, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. So I just think that we'd rather just somebody come in and say, by right that we can do this, the city, the Board of Appeals would have some input to that. And by being a special permit, this, you know, there has to be a hearing, and then the city council,
Well,
anybody has an input.
Why shouldn't it be by right in an industrial zone?
That's what industrial, well.
I don't know, my personal feeling, I mean, it could be, if that's what you guys want, I don't have any problem with that.
We're looking for ways to use industrial land, everybody wants to build stores on them.
Industrial
Now,
zone.
it's a good legitimate use for an industrial, small industrial parcel.
I understand your point, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no, that's what I'm
I
waiting.
understand your point, John, but I do think that when I've reviewed the ordinance, that we've gotten away a little bit from by right uses. When you go to all the trouble to describe what's allowed and where they should be, then I think we need to consider allowing more by right uses if they're put in their proper category.
And then people know where they stand.
Because we make business, it makes it more difficult for businesses to, it's not what permit-friendly process for businesses, that would be my point. And we want to encourage business. We certainly, if anyone, all I can say is if anyone goes into an industrial location and they need more than 10 parking spaces, we have the ability to put buffers and all the things that we need to.
Well, they would need site plan anyway, sure.
So that's where we get our remedy, which is something that you had mentioned before.
Yeah.
If we were going to expand it to commercial, then that's where the special permit should be, I think. So how about put a yes under industrial and special permit from the Board of Appeals for a commercial district?
I would agree with
Give it a
that.
little bit more flexibility.
Okay.
So I would, if that's your motion, I'd second it.
That's my motion.
Special permit,
Could you-
Board of Appeals for commercial, and a yes for
Yes for
industrial.
So he's expanding the petition a little bit, so he's
Look like
making a
this.
recommendation to approve inserting it under not only industrial uses, but also commercial, but under commercial to add a requirement for special
Got
permit.
it. Thank you.
Special permit.
Okay, and that's just a recommendation to the city council,
Right.
so they can do with it as they please. Okay, so that's the motion. I have a motion before me,
Second.
and I have a second. Let's make her the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries as with amendments. 5.2, City Council Petition 96-05. Joseph Brown, trustee, Orangewood Crawford Trust, amend the Leominster zoning map to restore the industrial zoning district to the entire property identified on Assessors Map 227, Lot 5A, located at 111 Crawford Street. Land is currently zoned partially industrial and partially residence B.
I would move to recommend approval.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded to recommend approval. Do I have any further discussion? Yes, did you want to say something, Kate?
So we'll recommend approval and send along.
As submitted.
As submitted. Okay, that's okay, good.
Okay. Okay, do I have any discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 5.3, City Council Petition 101-05, John Dabrowski. Adopt an ordinance requiring the payment of development impact linkage fees for commercial and residential development within the city.
Okay, Kate, here's your chance to shine.
Well, I jumped the gun, that's what, I don't know where I was when that recommend, you were unbound and I was already on linkage fees.
Oh, you're right. Oh, okay.
Okay, that's why, yeah.
That's why, I'm sorry. I would recommend that, I would recommend that the city council look into this further and take Attorney Cutler's long memo under advisement and provide them with the materials from the city of Boston and the other materials that I've gotten off the that I can get off the American Planning Association website, rather than just send them the website because they have to be a member. So I'll go in and do that research and pull it off and send it to Legal Affairs.
I would like to
Did it
reread
work?
those, all of those, and that
And I'll-
decision while sitting in different settings. In other words, reread them.
And I'll send
You know,
the
by the
board.
lake, once in the woods, once on the mountaintop. And,
I'll get some more information. I've been trying since this came in to, on the APA site, on the Massachusetts APA site, and every site I can find, to put in every variation of linkage fees, development fees, using their own language. I know that there was more written on this, and I talked to the city clerk in Franklin, who didn't know what I was talking about, and the planner wasn't there, but I knew that, I think this was a while ago. But I had, my parents lived in Leominster, too far from Franklin. It was a rather large issue at the time, so I had known about it. So I'll get that information to you and the city council.
So the recommendation would be to refer back to the city council for asking that they look into this further, and that we would supply them with the Copeland and Page Judy Cutler memo, plus additional information supplied by the planning department. Kate?
Tell them we agree with the concept, we want to make sure it conforms with the case law that was outlined in the opinion letter.
We've got a lot to go before I agree with the concept. But anyway, we're referring it back to them for more information, really. And we're supplying information to them.
So is it all right if I say that, I mean, I'm writing that agree with concept and needs to conform with
Well,
case law?
apparently John doesn't agree that he agrees with the concept, so maybe you don't want to say that.
Well, I think at this point, I'm having a hard time agreeing with the concept, because I'm saying, we're looking at, as I look at it, there are a lot of issues involved with this yet, before I can make a real decision. Because there have been some legal ramifications, and it has to go to the legislature and
There's a lot of issues involved, but the larger concept being that when a developer in town, or a large commercial development, or a large residential developer, this is a way for them to potentially give back to, you know, to the community through this program that would link their large developments with either additional low-income housing or park space or whatever it is that the city decides.
or even public service.
Correct.
And have to be defined what it's going to be. If it's going for the police, it can't be just a police department. It has to be public service, be police and fire and.
Right.
You know,
So I guess
how you would define that? Maybe the parks, or parks and recreation, or conservation, or whatever it might be.
So do you agree with the overall concept as a, I guess as a board?
No,
What do you want
one of
to
the
write?
problems, I'll tell you right now, is one of the problems I have is that as a planning board, we already mitigate quite heavily on a lot of the people. Like when we did, if I took this linkage fee on its face value at $2.60, and there's roughly 500,000 square feet, let's just talk about New England development. There's 500,000 square feet. That's over $1 million additional. Okay, $2 million. So that meant that after we had gotten already about $2.5 million of mitigation from them, that we are now going to go after them for an additional over $1 million more back to the city.
Sure.
And I just finished my train of thought. I'm saying is when we got the mitigation at first, there was no linkage fee, and they did that. That was in their total budget, and they're going to pay that. It's going to cost them that $2.5 or $3 million. All depends who you listen to put in water, put in sewage, put in roads, put in lights, and the planning board, I think, and we got that all without too much of a problem. If a developer comes in and he knows that he's going to be doing that, and then he's got to pay another $1 million on top of that.
Well, right, that's right.
The total impact of what we're doing here may or may not work.
Your ability to negotiate could be
Severely
changed. Could be changed by this possibly. I have never the way I feel about the Boston's program is the charge didn't kick in until you had 100,000 square feet of commercial, and then you paid on the excess. Anyone that can afford to put 100,000 square feet of commercial in Boston probably has the, that's my opinion. The money after the 100,000, the money after, the money after that, so.
Boston and Leominster are two different things.
Right, but
In Boston, you already have the infrastructure, the majority of it. In Leominster, we didn't have the infrastructure out in that area. So they're putting in the infrastructure in a rather large section of the city.
Right, I guess it's a larger discussion because it's what's called the price of, what you have is on one hand, you have the price of business, and on the other hand, you want to link, you would like to have these folks that come in and use up a lot of city services,
To pay their fair share.
to pay their fair share, and in the middle, is where Leominster will, after a lot of work though.
Right, but
It's gonna take a lot of
After a
work.
lot, it takes a lot of
We're gonna have a lot of
research.
development coming in on the big investment that's been made, and getting away with paying nothing, so, and some of those are going to end up being subsidized by all the taxpayers of the city.
Exactly.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not totally opposed to the linkage fees, but I think we have to be very cautious on what we're doing, because we have to, you know, maybe it's the amounts, maybe, you know, and where they kick in. So I think we really have to take a long reach at that.
I think the easiest way to do it then is recommend denial, refer them to the Copeland and Page letter, and further state, as Attorney Cutler states, the city should consider seeking special legislation to authorize the imposition of the charges of the fees proposed before adopting an impact fee ordinance. Maybe we should just recommend denial and have them refer to the letter.
That's all right too.
It's up to the board.
That's my motion. Although I have to note that John Dombrowski did an excellent job in his outline. I reviewed it.
Oh, I don't have a problem with John did at all. Believe me, I think he's done a good job. But I think it's,
Is that your motion? I'll second.
I have a second on that. I have a motion made and seconded. Do I have any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
I abstain.
Did everyone go? Oh,
I haven't had a chance to read it enough times yet.
Okay. I'm gonna, I voted
All right.
in the affirmative
It's
then.
only a recommendation. Good.
All in favor say aye. Aye, and I'm gonna abstain. City Council petition 107-05, William L. Donato. Rezone 236 Lancaster Street to 270 Lancaster Street, shown on Assessors Map 177 as lots 10, 10A, 15A, and 13 for business A to commercial. This is a continuation of a commercial zone district.
I would move to recommend approval.
Second. I second.
Motion made and seconded to recommend approval.
Seconded by David.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
The neighbors down there, they're gonna want to right up this.
City Council petition 108-05, Brad Lascotti, manager Pioneer Park LLC, rezone approximately 3.86 acres of land in Pioneer Park from rural residential to industrial.
I move to recommend approval.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to recommend approval. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
So,
Communications. 6.1, City Council petition 11405. Ronald J. Booth, an individual owning land to be affected by change. Amend Chapter 22, Article 2, Section 22-16 of the revised zoning ordinance entitled Generally Permitted Uses by creating new subsections 16.9, 16.91, and 16.92, which will allow by special permit from the City Council one undeveloped lot to be used for a private building,
For service.
building, i.e. restaurant, bank, drugstore, and the like, intend to support the nearby industrial uses.
that's,
The scheduled time,
that's up on Drive Tech in Central.
well, he's changed it, I just wanted, okay, let me go forward.
Well, that's on Lancaster.
I'm gonna do something different here, just so that you know what's going on. The next petition is my petition or our petition. And that petition is basically the same thing. Okay, in other words, both of these petitions would change 16.9 to allow for industrial, commercial, basically business A. But what we did was, in mine, we spell it out as 1.5 acres, and we also put it as a, in business, equal, using business A uses. So that limited it somewhat. Where the 6.1 doesn't spell out, it just gives in generalities what the uses would be, okay? But we have to schedule that hearing also. Or is that scheduled? That one's not scheduled, is it?
Which one?
6.1.
No.
No, it isn't.
The only question, go ahead.
What, can we schedule that at like 5 minutes before, and I can have them both open at the same time?
That one is scheduled for 6:45, open it up at 6:40?
Yeah.
So moved.
The only question I have is the words. If it is determined there is no practical industrial use for this land, how do you make that determination, and who makes that determination?
It's a special permit by the city council.
So, gonna put that burden on the city council that they must go out and determine that there is no practical industrial use for this land. And the question is, how do they do that?
We're trying to,
Of course, you can have oil companies there now, that would be good.
I have started to, I'll get you some more information on that.
It
I have started-
just seems like those are fluff words, which are really aren't gonna mean anything.
I haven't,
we can modify that.
I don't know, what I know about this particular, city council petition, is the number of lots. I've gone to, the assessors to get the number of industrial lots that exist that are both developable, can be built on right away, potentially, and that are potentially developable and that are 1.5 acres and less. And I've started to go out and look at them on the ground, see where they are, because I was concerned that maybe some of them would be, some of them is very small, and they might be in residential areas. So I'll get that information to you, let you know where they are, what I see on the ground, and you can go look at them. And then I'll read the rest of it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we made it as a special permit with the city council, because if he had a small, like there are some small industrial sites that are in neighborhoods that it probably may not be practical to use something, you know?
Well, so, right, and I'm sure there are. So far, I've seen everything that I've seen have been slivers of land that are attached to an industrial use already, or where there's in a neighborhood an industrial or that's been there forever.
A home business, old home business.
Well,
Old-
no.
Yeah, not a home business, but one of the
A
mom and
garage.
pop garage operations, yeah.
But the,
Well, at what price though? I mean, you might be able to find an industrial use for that'll go in there for $50, but you might be able to get $100 from a drive-through restaurant.
Well, with that, I know we have the schedules for a hearing, but my concern is that the way it's written is that
So, yeah,
you have to request a special permit of the city council for a use variance. So, to me, I mean, you either get a variance or you get a special permit. So you can't. So what the petition is you have to get a special permit in order to get a variance. So because I think if it's simply a variance, then they have to meet the criteria for a variance, which is, I think would solve Armin's concern. Resolve Armin's concern.
So you're saying get a use variance?
Well, I don't know,
special
because the way it's written, it says in case of undeveloped lots of 1.5 acres or less in the industrial zone, by special permit of the city council, a use variance may be issued. So I don't, because special permit is one vehicle and and a variance is another vehicle, so it has to be one or the other, in the way I see it. So we have to just determine which one, but if your concern is, well, how do we determine whether there's no practical
No, the
industrial?
special permit is the vehicle that the city council used to give a use variance.
At least if it's the city council, it becomes the voice of the people. As opposed to
So you
the
get a
board, so that's
I mean, I
good.
know we're not, it's not a hearing now, but you have to get a special permit from the city council, and then what happens when you get the special permit from the city council?
That constitutes a use variance.
It constitutes a use variance.
That's what we went through with my petition.
See, it's a use for that piece of property only, and only for the, and for that use. In other words, if somebody comes in for use, let's say for a restaurant, okay, you're gonna get a special permit for that restaurant. If somebody comes in for a bicycle shop, you'll come in for a special permit for that bicycle shop. Doesn't mean that somebody can come in later and put a restaurant in there, because the use variance is for the use that it was specified for.
And that would be a use variance maybe issued by the building inspector?
Why would
By
the
the
use-
city council?
City councel.
Why would
By
the
the
use
city council.
I
variance
wish I
not
never
be?
brought it up.
Yeah, let's move on.
Why would
Well-
say what you were gonna say.
Why would the
Okay.
use variance not be granted by the CPA, the normal
That's,
variance
Well,
granting authority?
the only reason I put in the city council is because the city council has requested that all special permits go to them.
Because use variances are very
But that could be a
controversial.
strict use, well, okay.
We don't
Okay.
allow use
I'll
variance.
work.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I don't understand how you get a special permit for a variance. That doesn't make, you either get a variance or you don't.
Well, especially because business A is considered a less noxious use than industrial. They are right now by right allowed on their 1.5 acres to develop it as industrial, and the use is under industrial. You're making it more difficult for a business A use, which is a less noxious use.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe the use variance should be a small v instead of a large v, and that would solve it. In other words, it's like a use variance, but it's really a special permit.
See what you mean?
I think we're getting into the hearing
Yeah.
on this.
All right, well, keep that in
Well,
mind.
that's what we're,
Okay, good point, Tom.
So I moved,
very good.
did we already?
Well,
I
no,
made-
we're
I
on
made the-
6.1.
I made the motion.
It's 6:40.
I made
A
the motion for 6:40 on August 23rd.
And I'll
for
second
6.1.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Now, 6.2, we already been discussing. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It is already scheduled for August 23rd at 6:45.
Okay.
Okay? You need a motion on that?
So moved.
Motion made, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
very good.
City Council Petition 1.06, Thomas Shea, on behalf of Margot Exaris Philip, Margot Exaris Philip F. Dismaris and Dave Aronson. Change the zoning district of the land located at the intersection of Jai-Tech Park and Central Street from industrial to commercial as shown on Assessors Map 499 as lots 12, 21, 22, and 26. Again, this is superfluous.
Revised, a revised
It's
It's
revised
revised
last
from,
meeting.
based on our recommendation.
based on our recommendation that, because last time they only came with one lot, now we're coming in with all 4 lots. Okay? And that has to be scheduled.
Since you've already had this petition before you, and it's, the only thing that has changed is the 3 names of the owners of those lots, do you want to schedule that for August 23rd at 8:10 and move it out?
Should go
I think
quickly.
it'll be quick, yeah. I think it'll be
That should be.
works for me.
So in other words, the abutting owners got on board?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so moved.
Motion made and seconded for 8, would you say 8:10?
8:10?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. We have some correspondence here from some lawyers that we're gonna have to discuss in executive session. So at this time,
Move for executive session.
move that we go into executive session.